Welcome to The Professor and the Princess. We are your hosts. This is Henri.
Hello.
Lovely and talented Henri.
Oh, stop it.
And I am Randy, and we are here to talk to you about what it means to be human. We're still trying to figure it out. But it is because the world is constantly changing. And from day to day, we don't know what the hell's going on, basically, right?
True. It's so crazy.
Whether it's culture or tech, identity, emotion, we want to dig into how we love, how we struggle, how we grow, and how we stay grounded amidst all the chaos and noise in our world. I like to think of it as just decoding cultural change, which we love.
Yeah.
We love because it really encapsulates what we're trying to do. And today's episode is somewhat serious. We're talking about the epidemic of loneliness because it is an epidemic. And I think that there are many reasons why loneliness is such an issue right now. And we had done a previous episode about technology. And I think that plays a big part in why people feel lonely. Because with technology, you can feel disconnected from other humans pretty significantly.
So true.
And in the research that we did, we have found that there are studies that say we are lonelier than ever. And so there was a book written by Elizabeth Ross from the Harvard School of Education, and she said that young people, meaning like up until their 40s, were the loneliest group, like 30 to 44, the loneliest, which is so strange because that's around the time that you're raising children. So you'd think you'd be the least lonely because you're around a lot of people. And what was fascinating was the least lonely group, which I would have thought would have been the exact opposite, are seniors, 65 and over. They only 10% of them felt lonely. And I would think with seniors, losing spouses, children and grandchildren moving away, like that they would feel lonely and maybe not as connected to their peers, but maybe with all the 55 and over communities cropping up and people moving to them, they have neighbors, friends, people they can hang with. So maybe that's why. But I think, there's something in this conversation that we want to dig into about why now, in this moment in time, are people feeling so lonely? What is it about that has changed, other than technology, which I mentioned? What do you think?
You have so many thoughts because you dropped some big gems that we pulled from Elizabeth Ross. I think immediately about the 65 and older, and I think about my granddad, God bless him, God bless his soul. He remarried a year after my grandmother died. And he said to me, because he asked my opinion. And I told him, I said, I'm devastated that you're getting remarried. And he said, I'm lonely. And so I think that the folks who are 65 and older, and maybe older than that, that they take action, right? If they're feeling a certain way, they'll like make it happen. And maybe that's just age saying that, you take care of your life.
Right.
But going back to myself or bringing it back to me, I called you a few months ago and I told you that I live in Los Angeles now, as you know, but I'm feeling very lonely in Los Angeles. And it was the first time that it was so heavy. And I was like, I can't do this. And even moving back to New York and the thought of it, it's like, not like I'm going to be at your house every week. And thank you so much, right? But it's a whole idea of proximity and not like alleviating some loneliness, but being like 3,000 miles away from my family and friends is a bit much. And because I'm used to being around people and close to folks whenever I needed to plug in, plus New York City, you can be in a crowd of people and still feel lonely.
Yes.
But there's still like that connection, and it depends on how important it is to us. Because even connecting with people who are strangers and who are, just fine in Los Angeles, it's still not really doing it for me, to be honest with you.
Right.
That's why I'm contemplating moving back. But yeah, the whole loneliness piece I can see why suicide rates are so high with folks who are feeling loneliness and don't know how to identify that.
Right. And I think there's always been that conversation around the difference between loneliness and being alone.
Yes.
You
being
can
clear.
be in a relationship, you can be at a party, you can be with a million people and feel lonely as hell. And then there are times where you can be alone and feel not lonely at all.
Right.
And I've felt both of those things. And so I think it's about like, what is the root of that loneliness? Is it that you're with the wrong person so you don't feel connected? Is it that you aren't having meaningful conversations with your friends and family? Like, what is it that's making you feel that way? And how do you address it? I personally think, and you mentioned this in another episode about, no tech night. When I have my family dinners on Sunday night with my sisters, my niece and nephew,
So
I will demand that everyone put their phone away, because otherwise we will spend the entire dinner with 10 people all looking at their phones.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why come over? Why have family dinner if we're just going to all be looking at our phones? Now, it's one thing if somebody wants to look something up to answer a question, sure. But I don't want this to be the totality of our experience. So I think you have to also work at it.
Yeah.
I think you have to work to create connections with others that make you feel seen and not feel alone or lonely.
Yeah. And I also think that folks we haven't really talked about what loneliness actually does to people and what it means, right? We and not just us, I mean, just kind of, maybe there's more research about it because I don't know everything, but it's this whole idea of how loneliness is truly affecting people.
Right.
And because, like, for example, I know folks who moved to LA, and people have told me, they said to me, Henri, a year and a half, you're going to get into it and it's going to be very lonely, especially coming from a city like New York where things are buzzing. And when I asked them how did they stay for 4 and 5 and 10 years, they're just like, I make a certain amount of money. So that kind of trumps it.
Right.
But then you have conversations with them and they're just like, sometimes can't even really have a conversation that goes any deeper than what you're wearing because they have, like, I don't know, become accustomed to this whole idea of loneliness being normalized in a way.
Maybe even creating some walls.
Yeah, definitely.
So they feel like they're in their own little bubble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like isolated.
Completely isolated
Right.
and becoming a normal thing. It's not something I want for myself. So no dollar, no salary
Right.
is ever going to make me feel comfortable in that sense.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I would give up a job actually if I'm not being fulfilled internally. That's taking a big bet. But though that's more important to me because it's what I'm used to, right? I'm used to being in a house full of folks. Now, mind you, I'm a person who likes to be by myself. I love my own company.
Yeah.
Best, right? Even in a relationship, we need a second bedroom just so I can go somewhere and decompress. Not the living room, not just somewhere where I can have my.
Right.
However, I still need the energy of another person around, even if you're a block away, a town away. But that we have that proximity because I don't feel lonely.
Right.
The alone thing I can do for a little bit, but the loneliness it rips me apart.
Well, but I think with modern things like phones and FaceTime and Zoom, you can still, you could Zoom me and we could talk and we could see each other. And I'm 3,000 miles away, but you can still have those meaningful conversations. So to me, that also helps abate loneliness.
That's true.
And I think the other piece of it for me is like having the courage to just say it to somebody.
God.
I feel lonely. Can you talk? I think we're all afraid of the other person going, "Oh, what a loser! You feel lonely? That's so lame. You're 50 years old. Grow up," or something.
I definitely said it to myself.
But you expect that level of judgment because it seems so silly, but it's not. And if you feel that way, we should normalize the idea of being able to ask for somebody just to talk.
Randy, but you bring up a great point because my reason for not confessing to you and my group of best friends with you in that group is I didn't want you guys to worry about me because I'm like so far away. I do have that I'm still processing just therapy of allow people to worry about you because if you're going through something,
worry about you anyway.
Right. So if they're going to worry about you anyway, definitely give them the reasons or let them know how you're doing, whether that's good or, going through the challenge. So I do talk about things that I'm going through more because I have worked on myself. And like you said, we need to do more of that and normalize the fact that people are saying this is how I feel, no matter what you think people or how you think people are going to judge it, because you do need that support and that help. Because I have to say, once I got off the phone, once I said it to you, I felt better about it.
Right.
But then once we had the conversation and you were concerned and you asking questions and all the questions, right? Henri, if you left there, is it really LA? Do you need to do something else? Or you need to lean into, do you need to create community? Do you need to call me more? Like having those conversations definitely helped.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And that's what people can get from it if they do confess to loneliness.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's like putting aside your ego.
Yeah.
And not being afraid to just be vulnerable, right?
Yeah. You have your partner, you have your daughter, you have your family. Do you ever feel lonely?
Oh, all the time.
Really?
Yeah. But not to me, when I say all the time, I don't feel sad lonely. I yearn for certain things I don't have.
Yes.
But those aren't necessarily, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll go to a party and I just don't feel like I'm connecting with anyone. And I'm thinking, I'm so lonely here. I'd rather just be at home watching my show. So those kinds of things. It's not a state of my being every single day, but I'm sure we all have moments of it. Sometimes I'm in a big crowd and I'm overwhelmed and I feel like alone, lonely,
Yeah.
That doesn't define how I feel in general.
Right.
But I think it's one of those things that ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
I mean, I think where it becomes problematic and what you were just talking about is when you're feeling it as a constant state of being, which you were for a while.
Yeah.
Like you weren't getting a break from it. It was like you were feeling it all the time. It was a life
that I was living every day.
And that's when it starts to become problematic and potentially dangerous for a person.
Yeah.
When they don't feel like there's any connection to others, they start to whether it's isolate or just lose themselves in that feeling, and that can lead to bad decisions.
Yeah, and the reason why I pose that question to you that way is because I adore your family, and there's so much love and so much connection, all those things. The reason why I pose that question is for anyone out there who actually have this very nurturing and fruitful family, that I want to decode and break down the negative connotation that's associated with loneliness, right? A, for what you said, that people don't feel like losers, right?
Right.
B, what I said about the fact that people are going to worry about you.
Right.
But as a human person who has needs, right, and that everyone can't satisfy those things, that we all have a time where we can feel lonely, even if we have the best world around us,
right.
because everybody can't be everything to us. So,
exactly.
Right. So it's the riches that we can have in life you can also experience loneliness as well.
And I think to that point, I have different people in my life for different things.
Listen, it's
right?
so real.
You have some friends you have these kinds of conversations with.
Yeah.
And you have some friends you just want to go out and be stupid with and get drunk and have a good old time and dance on the bar and go home. And
love them too.
And that's the extent of it. It doesn't need to be any deeper than that, right? Yeah. So I think that's the other thing for me is I have a myriad of people in my life that fulfill all those different needs. So I don't feel lonely. I want to retract. It's not all the time. Sometimes. Sometimes I feel lonely, but more often than not, I don't think that I do. It was just, I think, an immediate reaction, but I think that's wrong.
Yeah. But that's the beauty, too, of conversation, right? Is that when we take a deeper dive and ask the questions, right? It becomes this thing of oh, wait, actually, this is the value that's in my life that maybe I missed when I said it the first time, right? But actually, this is what's happening.
And now that I think, and it's it reminds me of the episode that we did about empathy, where we both ended that episode and we were like, oops, we need to take we need to take a step back and do some deep reflection.
Exactly. Are we trying to control the world? Oh my God. Well, I hope folks are able to be honest about their loneliness if they're experiencing it, right?
And to ask somebody.
Yes.
Put out a lifeline.
Yeah.
Talk to a friend, a family member, a teacher, somebody, and say, hey, can you talk? It's all you need to do to make yourself feel better in the moment.
Yeah.
Don't dive into a video game or a TV show. Just search for that human connection and have a moment with someone who can just be there for you. I think that's so powerful.
She loves dropping the mic. But
I
would buy her book at any point.
If I ever wrote it.
Come on, get on it now. You're doing that moment. You're in your creative Basquiat time, so go ahead and do it. So, oh my God, everyone, thanks for tuning into the episode. So remember, it's less about having the answers, as we said, right? And it's more about asking those questions. And until we get together again and have a conversation, always keep watching the world with your eyes wide open. Au revoir.
Au revoir.